Good Tuesday morning. Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in to Inspiration for Today. And we are continuing in our study of the risen appearances of our Lord Jesus after Easter Sunday, after he had risen from the dead and conquered death. And this week, we're looking at the few occasions not recorded in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, not recorded in the Gospels. Yesterday, we looked at Acts chapter 1 as Jesus ascended into heaven. And today, we come to Acts chapter 9. For me, just one of the most amazing accounts. I almost just said stories. Well, it's a story. It's a true story because it's in the Bible and it changed lives. But an amazing account of Jesus appearing to not one, which many people only tell that part of this story, but two people. Now the scene, it's about Saul. Saul was one of the chief persecutors of the early Christian church until this event in Acts chapter 9. But here's setting the stage. Saul was uttering threats with every breath and was eager, verse 1 says, to kill the Lord's followers. Can you imagine having that mindset? That just because people are following what he calls the way, that he would want to kill them. Because you know why? He thought he was protecting Judaism and that they were spreading false rumors. He just didn't, and you can understand how it's hard to believe that somebody rose from the dead. And Saul could not believe it, evidently. So he's going to Damascus, and he wanted a letter from the high priest allowing him to bring them back, any followers of the way, back to Jerusalem so that he could, well, he says kill them there, but I don't know if, well, anyway, that his heart was not good, was it? And so he's on his way. Verse 3 of chapter 9 of Acts says, as he was approaching Damascus, a light from heaven suddenly shone down around him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Who are you, Lord? Saul asked. And the voice replied, I am Jesus, the one you are persecuting. Now get up and go into the city, and you will be told what you must do. Well, wouldn't you have responded that way? You're going down the road and bright light shines around you. You'd fall to the ground. That's what he did. And then Jesus identifies himself, that Jesus has chosen to appear to Saul. Now remember, Saul his name is changed to Paul. And Paul becomes one of the main writers of the New Testament and the one who planted churches all over the known Europe mostly, but in that time. There was witnesses to this event. And it's those who were traveling with Saul. And it says, verse 7, the men stood speechless, for they heard the sound of someone's voice, but they didn't get to see the risen Jesus. But Saul did. So I'd be amiss if I didn't also tell you this. It says, but when he opened his eyes, he was blind. He had been blinded by that light. Now, I said that there was another second person that Jesus appeared to, and that was Ananias. And in verse 11, you see, he was in Damascus, evidently. And the Lord appeared and said, go over to Straight Street to the house of Judas, not Judas Iscariot, but another Judas. When you get there, ask for a man from Tarsus named Saul. He is praying to me right now. I have shown him a vision of a man named Ananias, you, coming and laying hands on him so that he can see again. You see, both of them needed convincing. Ananias, as you read on, was afraid of Saul. Saul's reputation had gone before him. And so the Christians, the followers of the way, the Christ, were afraid and did not want Saul to find them. So, yes, God used this blindness because it would be a convincing of Saul also that Ananias was of God if God used him to revive his sight. And that's exactly what happened. Ananias complains, but Lord, I've heard many people talking about the terrible things this man has done to believers in Jerusalem. And now he's authorized by the leading priest to arrest everyone who calls on your name. But the Lord said to Ananias, go, for Saul is my chosen instrument to take my message to the Gentiles and to kings, as well as the people of Israel. And I will show him how much he must suffer for my name's sake. And that's exactly, as you would read on, what happened. That God connected those two men. And it built a bond. And Ananias saw that Saul, soon to be named Paul, was a changed man. Just like the risen Lord had changed all the people that had seen him and who had placed their faith in him, so was true of Paul. And did, in fact, this prophecy that Paul would be the one to take the gospel to the Gentiles and to kings, as well as to the people of Israel. Paul did all of that. It's unbelievable that this persecutor of Christians had his life changed because he met the risen Lord in person on that road to Damascus. He's going there to do evil, and he ends up doing good. Paul is a classic example of God using fallen, sinful people for his glory. Don't ever say, God cannot use me because I've whatever, and you fill in the blank because you've done something. Or that you haven't done something. There's a lot of people that I have met that say almost the opposite. God can't use me because, well, I'm a new believer, or I haven't walked with him very long, and you fill in the blank. We just make excuses. Moses said, God, you can't use me because I can't talk very well. I'm slow of speech, he said. And then look how God used Moses to take the people out of Egypt. God can use anyone, including you. And it doesn't have to be that you take the gospel all over the world. I mean, that's great. But he can use you right where you are. Just pray today and ask him, how could you use me? God bless. Oh, do we have great stories and encounters with Jesus the next couple of days. God bless. See you tomorrow.
And I won't worry about tomorrow.